Everyone has an opinion about Russia and Ukraine. I'm going to come at it from a little bit different angle. I think that this goes back to World War II. After World War II, FDR, who was an awful president, he gave away the store. He gave Russia all of Eastern Europe and half of Germany. And Russia, before the war, before the Second World War started, Stalin and Hitler joined together in a pact, an agreement. They were buddies. They were joined at the hip. They said, Hitler said, I'll take Western Poland, and Stalin, you take Eastern Poland. We'll just go in there, we'll divide Poland in half, we'll enslave the Poles, and they can just produce our food for us, and we'll take their minerals and just make them into slaves. So Hitler and Stalin were on the same team. So that's what they do. Hitler goes in, he goes in first, and then Stalin comes in, but they end up dividing Poland and torturing and killing many Poles. And then Hitler turns on Stalin and drives him out of Poland and invades Russia. And then Russia regroups, they push Hitler back, and at the end of the war, foolishly, and for no real good reason, they stopped Patton from going into Berlin first before the Russians got there. And that was Eisenhower, who was another awful president. And FDR would not let Patton go in and take Berlin. So they let the Russians do it. So the Russians go in, they slaughter hundreds of thousands and rape hundreds of thousands of innocent women, kill children. They just kill everything in their path. They're horrible people. One thing you have to understand about the Russians, they are a terrible people. Not all the Russians, but a lot of them are. When they went in Afghanistan, what they would do is they would take small explosives and put them into toys. So little Afghan children would pick them up, so they would blow their arms off, blow their legs off. They didn't want to kill them. They just wanted to make them a burden on their families to demoralize the Afghan people. This is how the Russians think. They are a brutal, awful people. So you have to understand that. So after the war, Patton saw what the Russians were doing to innocent people. He said, let me drive them out of Eastern Europe, put them back into Russia where they belong, and we'll free all of these countries that were enslaved by Germany. But stupidly, because FDR related more to communism than he did to American capitalism. He was more in line with the communist beliefs. He thought that was the future. Communism was avant-garde, it was new, it's so cool. He liked communism because he was a communist. Hello. So after the war, Russia is rewarded. They joined together with Hitler to destroy Poland, and then they're rewarded for it. They had their payback. They went into Germany, they tortured the German people, destroyed half of Germany. They had their payback. Let them go back to Russia. No, that's not what happened. FDR. Now, Chamberlain, he didn't want to do this. I'm sorry, Winston Churchill didn't want to do this. But FDR had the power. He overruled him, and that's what happened. So then Russia gets all these Eastern European countries. and they enslaved them over the years. They kill millions of Ukrainians. Ukraine, in their eyes, is just a big wheat field. So they're just farmers and slaves, is all Russia sees of Ukrainians. So then the Soviet Union collapses, and then these countries are free. They go their own separate ways. They break apart. They create their own governments. Some join NATO. Ukraine doesn't. Belarus doesn't. But then they're individual countries now. So Putin, he wants to bring back the old Soviet Union. He's KGB, ex-KGB guy. He's a diehard. He's a true communist, true believer. He believes in communism. He wants to reunite the Soviet Union, make it a communist country led by him. So that leads us to the invasion. Now here we are today, and this is my opinion of where Putin's at. Putin is 69 years old. He's at his life, he's got to be thinking, I got 10 more years, So he wants to go down in history as one of the great Russian leaders. He's obsessed with that. He sees himself as Ivan the Terrible, Catherine the Great. He wants to be, in 1,000 years, he thinks we'll look back and they'll talk about Vladimir Putin, the great Vladimir Putin. So when he threatens to use nuclear weapons, which is what he did. Some people think, he's talking about cyber warfare. He's not talking about cyber warfare. He's talking about nuclear weapons. He made a slightly veiled threat to use nuclear weapons. So I think that he wants to use nuclear weapons. I think he wants to be in the position where he's able to do that. I think he's that deranged. And I was listening to a guy the other day. He said, he's not a sociopath. Well, yeah, obviously he's a sociopath. He enjoys killing people. He sends people out to kill people. And he more than likely probably killed people himself when he was KGB. I mean, he's obviously loves that. He loves to see people suffer. He's picking up where Hitler left off. At the end of Hitler, he didn't care about the German people. I don't think he ever really cared about German people. He was angry at them because they lost the war. He thought they all deserved to die. They should all die because it's their fault that we lost the war, that Germany lost the war. In his eyes, they should all die. Putin's the same way. He's just picking up where Hitler left off. He doesn't care about the Russian people. He's willing to let them die. He cares about how he's seen is all. When an 18-year-old Russian kid gets his head blown off in battle, he's not worried about that kid. He's just thinking, I don't know, I lost another troop. He could care less about that kid. They're just puppets to him. They're just people to use, that's all. So now he's put it all out there. He's got himself out there. This is do or die for him. This is his big moment. This is the time that he's waited for. He's made his move. Nothing's going to stop him. The only way that he'll be stopped is if people in his inner circle kill him. That's the only way that this is going to end. Just like they tried to assassinate Hitler, which would have saved countless lives and would have saved Germany too from total destruction. That's where we're at now. That's what I believe. I believe that someone inside his group has to assassinate him. That's the only way this is going to stop.